Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. This is Channeled Messages, where I channel those from the past, okay? Sometimes from the present. It is Friday. Happy Friday. I hope you had a manageable week. I hope you were able to get through the week. I hope you're ready for the weekend. I'm ready for the weekend. I'm doing okay. I'm going to channel 3 people today. I'm going to channel 3 people today. Thomas Paine, and the Founding Fathers, Frederick Douglass, and Robert Smalls. Okay? Just going to get right into it because I'm starting a bit later than I would like to have started because I'm just moving slow today. So everything I say here is for entertainment and informational purposes only. Everything I say here is alleged. Okay, so let's jump right in. I'm gonna start with Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine, I was reading a little bit about him. He is very interesting. He was the author of Common Sense and the Rights of Man. He was very, very, very anti-slavery. He wrote a very interesting essay that I read about the enslaved and his opposition to it. Please go look that up. Please go look him up. We need more Thomas Paines in this present moment. He was a fierce advocate for liberty and reason and justice. Okay. He didn't believe in organized religion. He totally rejected it. Please look him up. Please read about him, learn about him, read his books. I'm gonna read his books. He's so interesting. Anyway, let's see if I can connect to him. Okay. First of all, he said, hello, little one. I'm not little, but I suppose. He said I can ask him some questions. Okay. Let's see. How do you view the current state of democracy in the United States and other Western nations? He said, it's interesting. It's a little tongue-in-cheek. It's a little, his answer, he's serious, his answer, but also he's saying it is as it's always been a farce. He said the true crime is that they pretend that it isn't, essentially. But in the energy I could feel he's being a little facetious. He's saying, my true feelings are that there are men that stand in front of democracy, but that there are those who defend it. He said, I always hold these truths that men will uphold democracy. And he's not speaking he's saying men as in humans. He's saying there are those that wish to oppose it, and while they are powerful, they are morally deficit. Is that what he said? I heard the word, but I'm not sure if that's the word he used. Yeah, that's what he said. Interesting. They are morally deficit. His voice is very distinctive. What would you say about the influence of corporate money and lobbying on modern governments? He's rubbing his hands together. He said, greed is a folly that will always be in peril. He's saying it is what he's referencing. He's saying it is what made men fall to their own peril. And he's referencing the enslaved. He's referencing the industry. And he's showing me, he's saying, he's not using words, but I could feel that he's saying it's even now it's happening today. So he's acknowledging that. He's saying it is the devil. Very dramatically. He's saying it is a gaping hole. It's almost like he's saying it's like he's acknowledging, he's being realistic as well, and in the energy I could feel him saying it's inescapable. It's a system. That has changed face, but has sort of still has the same underlying purpose. Do you believe today's political leaders embody the values of the republics you envisioned? He said, he said, there has been so many changes, but there's so much muck. He said, it's not what I envisioned, but it is close. Why do you say that? He's he's saying like it's politics. He's saying, um he's he's saying it's human, it's men, he's saying something goes hand in hand, but I can't quite hear what he's saying. What goes hand in hand? Because he's doing this, he's putting his hands together, he's doing this, it goes hand in hand, but I don't know what he's referencing. I keep hearing the word men. He's saying like the fight for freedom when it comes to political leaders is he used a very dramatic phrase. He said is lost, but he's saying he's not being it feels like he's not being like, oh, all hope is lost sort of thing. It doesn't feel like that in the energy, but he's saying a lot of things, but he's saying mainly what he's saying is like when you have man involved, other things come with it that muddies the main purpose of a republic. And he's talking about everything that comes with it. Wanting to do the right thing, taking money. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. He's not surprised. He's not surprised that. Because he's saying it's politics. He said it's quite stupid. He said it's quite stupid because they don't see how simple the fight for freedom can be. And he's saying, you either do or you don't. Interesting. Very interesting. Would you consider today's media a tool for enlightenment or manipulation? He said, I used to spread information for the good of the common folk. And he's saying to learn, and what he's referencing, and he's saying now it seems someone could say something and it's automatically believed. He's saying the use of information is quite dangerous. He's saying it seems as though he's speaking very carefully. He's speaking very carefully, first of all. And it seems as though people don't want the truth, is what he's saying. He's saying it seems as though people don't want the truth because it is uncomfortable. He's saying people take what is given to them. And that he's saying you have to take information in order to learn. He's kind of going in, but people don't want to learn, he's saying. He's saying they don't want to learn. He's saying that's very common. That's what it was for during his time as well. It's very common, he's saying. He's saying, I asked him what can we do with that? He's saying you have to be willing to listen. You have to be willing to learn. He said it's all about willingness. Would you see the current political climate as ripe for revolution or reform? He said, your current government seems askew. He said, they seem misaligned with the duty of the people. He said that can cause great unrest. And then he said it will cause great unrest. He said there's an idea of man, if you shell him of everything, he will turn around and burn you. If you shell him of everything. I've never heard that phrase before. Shell, he said. If you shell someone, if you shell man, how would you advise modern citizens to stand up against tyranny or injustice? He said you have to demand due cause. He said you have to march. He said share information with each other. He said develop a guild. It's very old-timey. What would your common sense pamphlet say to the people of today? He said to get out of your own way. He said to try to listen to truth, no matter how discomforting it is. He said to arm yourself with information and knowledge. He said it is the most powerful tool. Interesting. Do you believe the civil liberties are being eroded or upheld in the current political environment? he's saying this is complex because he said it is being eroded. And he's kind of also saying it has always been. And once again, he's saying it has a different face, but it's the same moral ineptness at its core. He's saying people have to demand that their rights be taken seriously. And he's saying people have to demand new rights. And this is my last question. Has humanity honored the principles of reason and natural rights that you have championed? He said there's always room for growth, but yes, I do think so. He's saying there have been many avenues in continuing what I believed and fought for. He said there are those who uphold those beliefs, and that is enough. He's saying there's a long road to go, but he still believes things will get better. He's saying the liberties and freedom of men are in question, but he said, but that has always been tested and there has always been progress. Wow. Okay. I actually have one more question that I want to ask. What virtues or ethics do you believe politicians and citizens must rekindle in order to restore a healthy republic? He said honor. He said integrity, dignity. Wow. He said giving land back to those whose land was taken. Wow. He's saying recognizing the moral deficits of this country. He's saying being able to bring back control to the citizen. He said common sense. That's what he said last. No, he said it. He said a belief that good can be done. Okay. He said that's all I'll say. All right. Thank you, Thomas Paine. I'm going to disconnect now. Okay. That was Thomas Paine, guys. I didn't expect to spend so long with him, but he's very interesting because he speaks he he speaks philosophically but also bluntly. His energy feels, he wasn't upset or he was unsurprised, very calm. And this, as he gave me these messages and saying, he was balancing, saying there has been a lot of progress and many changes, and also recognizing there has been a lot of things are the same here, is what he was saying basically. Let me fix my camera. Okay, so that was Thomas Paine. Look him up. I didn't read a lot on him because I wanted to feel what I wanted to feel, but he's from the little I did read, he's very interesting. We need a Thomas Paine now, right now. Okay. Next, I'll channel my spirit guide, Federick Douglass. Okay. If you don't know who Federick Douglass is and or was, he was an abolitionist. He was a great speaker, writer, and statesman. He was an activist for civil rights, okay, human rights, social justice. He was a free thinker, and a lot of people don't know what free thinking is nowadays, but he also questioned the institution, the religious institution, and he questioned the use of Christianity as a weapon. He discussed that a lot. So he believed in God, but he had a problem with this sort of man. Anyway, he he separated, which maybe that's where I get that idea and that feeling from. But he called it God's Christianity and the other Christianity. Okay. Anyway, so I'm gonna channel him. I'm not gonna ask a lot of questions. Okay. What do I want to read? What do I want to ask? Hello, Kimberly. Okay. My first question is, what dangers do you see in how power is wielded in modern America, especially toward the marginalized? He said, the dangers I see is the death of a nation. That's what he said. What forms of protest do you believe are most effective and morally grounded today? He said, boycotting seems genuinely effective. You have to not give them money. Money is their biggest draw. It's most alluring to them. If you take away their money, he said if you take away their money, then they will have to listen. Interesting. From your current vantage and spirit, what lesson should humanity focus on to evolve politically and morally? He said they have to focus on themselves and how they live their lives. He said they have to progress on how they have to reflect on how they can progress. He said self-reflection is the biggest gambit because it helps us move without fear. Wow. He said to know yourself is to know God, and to know God is to know total enlightenment. What truths are being hidden from us that you believe the people must now uncover? He said the true face of evil. And he said, I do not mean that in the, he said, I do not mean that in the sense of an actual, he didn't say this, but like in a sense of an actual demon or, but he said something sinister. He's saying the one thing they do not want you to know is that you hold the power. Wow. He said you have the power to move mountains. He said that is why they are afraid. That is why they are trying to take everything away from you and cause confusion. and fear and distraction. He said it is time to hold everyone accountable if you can, if you're ready. He said, but first it is time to self-reflect on who you are in all of this. He said it will be all right. It will always be okay, but this is a time for you to reflect on what it is you want to be. Okay. Federick Douglass, my spirit guide. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Very powerful message. Very comforting too. At least to me it was. I've noticed that he has been, not to say all my spirit guides are close, but I've particularly noticed he has been the closest through all of this that I've been experiencing, which is interesting. Very interesting. Okay, I'm going to channel Robert Smalls. And I've never heard of him. He was an American hero. He was a Civil War naval captain. He was the one to convince, he started in the Confederacy as an enslaved man, and he escaped. I believe he took a ship from the Confederacy and escaped to the north with the ship and freed himself and other enslaved that was on the ship and families that was also on that ship. And because of that, because of this action, Abraham Lincoln was convinced to let other African Americans in the Union Army to fight. Now that's a whole other conversation, but we're talking about Robert Smalls and what he did. Okay. He was incredibly intelligent. He was the first African American to serve in the U.S. House of Representatives. 5 terms he served. Okay? He was that guy. All right? And man, he really does, when you think of what America is supposed to represent, and I mean minus what happens beneath the surface, he represents that. Okay, so man, anyway, he just look him up. He did so much. He started the Republican Party in South Carolina. This was when the Republican Party was, when it included Abraham Lincoln, before it remixed into what it is today. He was part of Reconstruction. But I'm going to channel him and see if I can connect to him. Okay? But He was one of the first black men to serve in the U.S. Congress, so look him up. Okay, Robert Smalls. His energy is very gentle, and his voice feels soft. He's like, hello. He said I can ask him some questions. He's just waiting and looking at me. Do you see today's political landscape as moving toward or away from the promise of Reconstruction? He said, the first thing he said is, I fought hard for freedom and justice. He said it is confusing as to why we still have to fight this way. He's saying there has been so many changes. He's saying, but the breath of so many. He's saying, but the breath of. I'm trying to hear what the sentence he's saying. Bear with me. He's saying the breadth of so many changes that has to come is unbelievable. He's saying it's so much, it's so large. And also saying, I believe it can get done. Can you imagine being from where you are, where you came from, and what you've done during a time during the Civil War? He said it was such a trying time. There was so much terror. But I believed for what I was fighting for. You worked within a system to create change. Do you still see that as a viable path in today's polarized environment? He's saying yes. He's saying you have to make yourself known. He said to work within a government that has so few allies is difficult, but you have to be there. He said you have to sit at their table. Sit with them. He said I had to make my mark, and those who are in a similar position to mine has to make theirs. What modern parallels do you see between the struggles of your time and those of today's America? He said, quite frankly, everything. And he's holding up his hand. He's like, I'm not saying things haven't changed or progressed. He's saying this is a precarious time. Well, he said there needs to be a change. He said more bravery. Well, he mentioned Donald Trump. He said your president is not a president. He said he is someone who will dismantle the thinly held together democracy. he keeps referencing he's saying he's talking about Congress, and he's saying they're gonna have to try and work together. And it feels like he's really saying, he's showing me, he's sort of saying the same thing as Thomas Paine, where he mentioned a guild, but he's talking about boldness, and he's showing me when he said they have to work together, he's saying they have to build those who on both sides who oppose this president, I used the term loosely, they have to build a coalition. And he's saying that's what will happen. He's nodding. He's saying, yes, that is what will happen. And he's saying people will be very surprised from it. Wow. What future do you see possible for America if we heed the lessons of the past, including your own? He's saying the biggest lesson is uniting. And he's saying it can get so bad. This is the words he's using. It can get so bad to a point where there will be no choice. I hear the word disable, but he's saying another word that I can't understand. Hobbling, he's saying. I couldn't hear it before. He's saying that the Donald Trump is trying to hobble the government. He's saying he knows things. He's saying more and more. He didn't use this phrase. He's saying more from both sides will cross the aisle together. He said it will be so bad that will happen. Whoa. He said this coalition will form a new party, he's saying. He said, I asked, when will this happen? And he said, in the very near future. He keeps saying it's the only way. And he's saying, will this be, I'm going to ask, is this in both the Senate and in Congress? And he's saying, he's nodding, he's saying yes, both. He said it will be quiet. It will start small, but it will grow. Will this be permanent? Will this be temporary? He said it will seem temporary, but it will be permanent. And then he's saying it won't be known faces. He's saying it will be a small group. And he said they're already talking. Wow. He's saying there has been so much corruption they have seen. He said it very quietly. And he said he said they will have their turn to try to turn things around. Okay. I think that was it. All right. Robert Smalls, Captain Robert Smalls. I didn't expect that. He had some information. I mean, if something like that happens, it would be interesting to say the least. That would be fascinating to me if something like that happened. Someone else at channel said something similar to that in the past, but I can't quite remember. Okay, guys, please like this video. I'm going to end here. I hope, this resonated with you. Please like this video. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the notification bell if you haven't. And I will see you for moving forward. Okay? See you again soon. Bye-bye. Like the video.